Alright mates, let's dive into this. Our lad locks onto his target, sword already glowing bright blue. His prey, an entire family of absolutely furious griffins. With a dead serious glare, he gears up for one massive, devastating strike. That brilliant glowing blade completely shreds the monsters to bits, leaving the entire audience absolutely gobsmacked by this insane, one-hit display of power. Even the bloke is impressed with himself. Our rookie is on absolute fire, but then, a brutal wave of pain hits him right out of nowhere. Dark energy erupts from his body as he starts losing control. He has absolutely no clue what is kicking off or why. The only thing he knows, the system is slapping him with a level-down effect. All his bloody hard work vanishes right before his eyes. His level just keeps plummeting down with every passing second. Look, the whole point of grinding this hard is hitting level 50 for one special skill. An absolute game changer of an ability that basically defines your entire character class. That is why he grafted so hard to get there, only to receive the universe's sickest joke, a rubbish skill called level down. Which brings us to a cave where someone is screaming die. It is that blonde prat Gasseria, viciously kicking our lad while he is weak. Gasseria is completely losing the plot, demanding proper titles while beating him. Total psychopath. His lackeys just watch, mocking how far the fast rookie has fallen. Shunbright's status screen confirms the grim truth. He is level 1, an absolute nobody. Watch closely now, this is a massive drop from 5 years ago when he was the star rookie, but that blasted skill kept dragging him down in every single fight until he basically became a helpless civilian, left to die among deadly monsters. His supposed mates abandoned him one by one, and all those jealous cowards crawled out to kick the bloke while he was down. You can see the absolute shock and brutal betrayal written across his face. Leading that pathetic hate parade is Gasseria, absolutely loving every single second of it. But even on the dirt, Shun is not broken, he is just purely furious, because all he ever wanted was to be a hero like his dad. He searched everywhere for a cure, protecting folks along the way. Those little moments of gratitude were the only bloody things keeping him going. Back in the present, Gasseria keeps battering him, rubbing salt in the wound, entirely mocking the star rookie he used to be. Turns out Gasseria is just a pathetic level 66 loser with a truly massive inferiority complex. And Shun says it straight to his face, calling him a lazy coward. That brutal truth earns him another punch to the jaw, though Shun glares back, completely unfazed. Gasseria completely loses his head over that defiant stare. Talk about a fragile ego, so he decides to finish the job and kill Shun forever. Then Gasseria summons a pack of purple ghost wolves. You and I know a fair fight was never happening, right? Shun is completely stunned watching beasts materialize in the cave. This blonde psycho smirks, entirely avoiding dirtying his own hands. He loudly mocks that Shun is way too weak to face down even a single blood wolf. Even totally beaten, Shun actually worries about other adventurers getting hurt. That selfless thought just earns him another brutal kick straight to the gut. Gasseria then orders his lackeys to keep their mouths shut. They just leave our lad for dead, making up some utterly cheap and pathetic excuse. His final comment is just an arrogant reminder that there is absolutely no escape for the rookie. Revealing he summoned a whole army of monsters to finish the job. Right on cue, those deadly wolves start closing in on the defenseless Shun. But then a glowing system window suddenly pops up right in front of him, reminding him he is still level 1 and fighting now is a terrible idea. His only option is to leg it and avoid combat, but of course, he runs smack into a goblin leading another huge pack of monsters. Ducking behind a wall, he realizes Gasseria flooded the entire zone. He cannot help thinking what an absolute coward the guy is for avoiding a direct fight. That is when a terrifying scream echoes through the dungeon. He peeks around the corner to see a girl surrounded by those same wolves, completely paralyzed by the sheer number of monsters. Shun spots the cornered girl and instantly knows this is a very bad situation. His pathetic level 1 status flashes in his mind. Can he even do anything with that curse? Fighting just weakens him, making victory impossible. The logical move is to stay hidden and just wait for another adventurer to show up. As a wolf lunges straight at her, he desperately tries convincing himself that staying put is the right call. But his feet are already moving. To hell with logic, he throws himself right in front of her, taking the brutal hit all on himself. A bright blue flash of light pierces the first wolf. Trust me, any normal level 1 would be dead right now, but this is Shun Bright, the bloke who has slaughtered thousands of these beasts. Spinning back toward the girl, he yells at her to run for it. She is left completely gobsmacked that this absolute stranger just jumped in and saved her life. All right, stick with me here. Another phantom wolf charges in, but Shun is already dead focused. Ready for the next move, remembering their weak spot is the belly. A perfect target. He ducks right under the strike, prepping for an absolutely flawless counterattack. Then he unleashes an upward slash that just completely wipes out the entire pack. The girl can only stare, totally speechless, at the absolute carnage unfolding. While Shun just casually drops that 2 more are left, his only thought, if he beats them, at least she makes it out safe. And for his heroic act, the system rewards him by dropping his level twice, taking him from level 1 straight down to big fat 0. The system seems to have a total meltdown over this, flashing a giant red error. A wave of pure agony hits Shun as his body completely gives out. Then, the system helpfully clears the error. His level is now -1. Our guy cannot even process this. A negative level is fundamentally, absolutely broken. Dark energy erupts from his body while he tries to understand what is happening. His only thought is he just wanted to protect that girl. He wanted to be a hero like his dad, strong enough to actually help people. So why is he stuck with the most pathetic skill in the universe? For a split second he almost gives up, wondering if it is time to throw in the towel, but then he remembers his dad and finds his resolve. Absolutely not, he made his choice and he is not backing down now, swearing to keep protecting people until the day he physically cannot fight anymore. With glowing red eyes, he declares he does not care about this defective skill. Even if his level keeps dropping into the negatives, he is pushing forward, so he charges at the last 2 wolves, sword ready to strike hard. His only goal right now is making sure that girl gets out of here alive. Right then, a mysterious bright light appears, praising his heroic spirit, leaving the girl he just saved completely stunned and heavily blushing. What was that? That mysterious voice is back, congratulating Shun for hitting rock bottom, and suddenly the whole world around him starts glitching out. Now watch closely, things get crazy. The last 2 wolves freeze mid-charge, trapped in time, leaving Shun completely bewildered by what is going on. The monsters are just totally frozen like a corrupted video file. Then a system window reveals the ultimate loophole. Hitting negative levels actually broke the curse. Our guy just stares, trying to process this massive twist, because apparently this unlocks the hidden power behind the world. His mind is spinning from the implications of this discovery, as he gets dragged into some kind of glitched cosmic void. The system then drops another massive bomb. He unlocked error skills, starting with black flame magic. Looking back at the frozen scene, he realizes time itself has completely stopped, and that is exactly when a glowing, shirtless dude materializes out of nowhere. Shun is understandably a little confused by the sudden appearance of this muscle guy. Asking who on earth he is, but he immediately recognizes that bright light's voice. This guy just smiles, saying he cannot hold the time freeze for very long. So he offers Shun a quick explanation via direct brain download, which feels exactly as pleasant as it sounds. You and I probably guessed this, but the big secret, the entire world is literally cursed by the very concept of levels. Shun floats in the void, realizing levels are not some holy blessing, but a straight-up curse. And the dude smiles, confirming the system is totally rigged. Apparently there is a level cap for humans, but Shun smashed it by going into negative numbers, granting him a power that exists completely outside the normal rules of this world. Our guy tries to understand this cosmic cheat code, but the glowing guy announces the free trial is over. Time is officially up. Shun tries to get more answers as the guy starts fading away, leaving him one last piece of advice with a cryptic smile. The new rule is simple: the lower his level drops, the stronger he becomes, and with that, he gets thrown right back into the cave with a complete information overload. Right on cue, the two phantom wolves unfreeze and launch straight at him, catching him totally off guard as time snaps back to normal. He barely manages to dodge the first strike. Still recovering from the whole ordeal, deciding there is zero time for an existential crisis with monsters on his tail. The last two wolves close in, looking just as hungry as before, so Shun decides to test out that shiny new error skill he just scored. He unleashes a torrent of pure black flame magic from his hand, and the sheer raw power of it leaves him absolutely speechless. Because this dark energy is unlike any magic ever seen, and trust me, you're going to want to see what he does with it next. Stick with me here, the girl he just saved is totally mind blown. She cannot believe he wiped out the entire pack in one hit, but suddenly, another squad of adventurers rolls up demanding to know who caused that massive explosion. And guess who it actually is? One of Gassaria's lackeys is with them looking absolutely terrified, because Shun, the same guy they literally left for dead, is just standing right there staring them down. This little minion is in deep denial, completely refusing to believe that Shun soloed all those monsters. So Lee snaps back that he absolutely did, and she is totally sick of repeating herself. The lackey tries downplaying it, reminding everyone Shun is just some fast rookie, but Lee grabs him, telling him to shut his mouth about reputations right now. Another adventurer points out that crossing Gassaria is a massive deal, making Shun's survival even more utterly insane. Lise then turns to Shun with a massive blush, deciding to formally introduce herself to her hero. Which honestly just makes our boy super nervous. He is not used to the VIP hero treatment, but she insists on calling him Lord Shun from now on. Gassaria's minion is seething in the background, just absolutely boiling over with pure jealousy. Meanwhile, Shun is calmly checking his status, still processing the whole level -1 thing. And his stats are a total joke right now. His defense is so incredibly low, a strong breeze might actually end him. But his screen confirms a massive upside. He scored a brand new glitch skill, Black Flame Magic. He thinks about the totally overpowered blast he just unleashed, knowing it was way past normal limits. A spell that should literally take years of grinding to even attempt. Lise keeps chattering away, admitting she does not understand a single thing that just happened. Shun simply smiles, thinking he has no clue either, but he is definitely not complaining. Shun thinks this wild new power might finally make him a real hero like his dad. Now pay close attention here, a sudden quake shakes the whole cave, shocking everyone, and that annoying lackey feels an insanely heavy presence drop in. Looking up, they see a giant, glowing blue dragon has literally just spawned in. A void dragon with a level so ridiculously high it only shows up as question marks. The lackey instantly blames Shun, who is just thinking, are you kidding me? If this is not a summon, then this is a totally wild boss monster. Way above their level, our brave little minion starts screaming his lungs out, while Shun can only stare in absolute terror at this massive new arrival. Then suddenly, a vision flashes through his mind of someone else fighting this exact beast. The memory hits him with a wave of intense, blinding pain, because somehow, deep down, he actually recognizes this dragon. It is exactly like that guy said, there is something huge he completely forgot. As the dragon coils up, its crazy power floods the cavern. Those ghost wolves Shun just roasted, they start reforming right behind it. Apparently, this dragon rocks a passive healing aura, so broken it can literally revive the dead. You and I see it, Gassaria's guy finally realizes they are totally, completely screwed here. This dragon opens its mouth, charging up a massive breath attack, prompting the panicking lackey to throw up a super flimsy magic shield. Shun just yells at the absolute idiot to run, because that shield is basically wet paper. And yeah, that paper shield gets instantly vaporized by the dragon's breath, and Gassaria's minion takes a full-on, point-blank dose of divine punishment. It is not looking good for him. His buddy just watches him drop, probably thinking he really should have bolted when Shun warned him. Shun suddenly realizes the dragon's power is even more busted. It can literally rewind time for its targets. That is absolute insanity. Lise suddenly jumps right in front of him, screaming at him to get out of there, declaring it is her turn to return the favor by fighting this giant blue lizard herself. Our boy tries warning her it is a suicide mission, that something is fundamentally wrong with this beast, because time manipulation is a completely impossible power. But of course, this dragon charges another massive beam, unleashing pure destructive energy aimed right at Lise. She can only brace for impact, knowing she is totally and completely outmatched. And Shun gets caught in the blast wave, grunting against the crazy force. He decides right then it is do or die time. Time for a massive gamble. Lise just stares in total disbelief at what is happening right in front of her, because Shun literally throws himself ahead to tank the hit. He takes the full, raw force of the dragon's breath, screaming in absolute agony as his entire body starts glitching out again, this time with bright purple static. Our boy just grits his teeth, forcing himself to push through the pain. Lise watches in horror, tears falling, but you and I know he is not done. As Shun finally locks onto that hidden memory. Let us jump straight into the madness, all right. He realizes this fragmented memory is absolutely his, making him the key to this whole mess. Suddenly, the system starts screaming error, completely freaking out over a power that breaks every single rule. Our boy just smirks, fully accepting this game-breaking energy, while an automatic barrier instantly deletes the dragon's massive attack like it was nothing. Apparently, dropping into negative levels totally heals your entire body. What an insane advantage. His eyes flash with intense purple energy, finally confirming that the wild vision of fighting this beast was his own memory. Exactly like Mr. APS promised, his strength is on a whole new level. Lise can only stare in absolute shock as he squares up against the giant lizard, seriously wondering if he is some kind of legendary hero. Girl, you have no idea. Even the dragon seems totally stunned by this sudden twist, but it snaps back fast, letting out a furious roar that makes Shun look like a tiny dot against the colossal beast. He totally scoffs, mocking the dragon because its power is useless against him now, and unleashes his signature black flame magic once again. This time it forms into a demonic dragon head that shoots straight at the original face, completely swallowing the massive creature in a terrifying blast of dark energy. The void dragon is clearly struggling right now, its eyes wide with absolute panic. It tries striking him, but Shun is moving way too fast to catch. He knows those blurry memories hold the ultimate key. Now watch this next move closely. Just like that glowing guy said, Shun figures out this error skill has extra tricks, channeling pure purple energy directly into a brand new sword technique. It is a secret origin sword move that summons his own dragon. He launches the attack with a massive war cry, and his dark beast completely devours the void dragon. The system immediately rewards him, dropping his level to -3 and granting another error skill. Looking at his own hand, holding fresh power, he has no clue what it does yet, but he absolutely knows this negative level stuff is pure insanity. Later, everyone heads back to the village, officially ending the crisis. Shun and Lise walk side by side, already looking like a total power couple. He finally asks why she is following him to the Adventurer Guild. Lise gets super excited, proudly declaring her reason is perfectly logical. Her flawless logic, just because you are here, which leaves Shun totally confused. She literally clings to his arm, calling him her savior, while he just sighs, realizing there is 0 point arguing with his new #1 fan. He also made sure to collect dragon parts, totally hiding his boss hunting hobby. All this negative level stuff is a huge mystery, just like his forgotten memories. So right now, he only wants to cash in his epic loot at the guild. Lise tells him not to worry, totally throwing him off by offering to be his official sponsor, and our boy is definitely not ready for that commitment. You feel that tension, right? Back in town, Shun overhears rumors about a massive, unmeasurable dragon, and he knows things are bad. He has to shut down any weird rumors before they escalate. So he turns to Lise, trying to apologize for the dungeon madness, but she just flashes a knowing smile, promising his wild secret is totally safe. Our guy just stands there in silence, blown away by how fast she caught on. He realizes she seems clueless, but is actually super reliable and basically reads minds. With a grateful smile, he thanks her for covering his tracks, and they finally head into the Adventurer Guild. Walking in, Shun looks about as excited as someone getting a root canal, because everyone starts whispering about the fast rookie with the absolutely useless poison magic. Even though Lise tells him to completely ignore the haters, Shun actively reminds himself that he has to keep those two broken error skills a total secret. He steps up to the counter to trade monster parts, playing it cool, but the receptionist stops him dead, asking if he was in Dungeon 37. That instantly sends Shun into full panic mode, terrified that she knows about the Void Dragon. Turns out she is just worried because a dangerous monster appeared and Gazaria vanished. She is so relieved Shun is okay, and he just awkwardly laughs right before a strange, glitchy voice suddenly echoes through the room, telling them to wait. Both Shun and Lise are completely caught off guard by the creepy disembodied sound. And all the other adventurers are just as confused, wondering who just spoke. Suddenly, a massive purple magic circle appears right over the guild hall. The adventurers are totally baffled by the wild light show as dark energy gathers around a woman on the balcony. Shun feels her absolutely overwhelming power. This is seriously terrible news because that is Eurisha, an S-rank illusionist and easily one of the strongest fighters around. She starts interrogating him about the Void Dragon, claiming the dungeon was empty, and the receptionist confirms the boss is missing, leaving only dead wolves behind. Eurisha narrows her eyes, clearly not buying a single word of this story. So she directly approaches Shun, fiercely demanding to know what really happened. So where does this leave us? While he sweats under her heavy aura, some annoying guy interrupts, insulting Shun for his useless skill and mocking how he only fights basic enemies. "Alright mate, stick with me." Eurisha flashes this incredibly sweet, gentle smile, right before her face completely freezes and she tells this idiot to shut up. The loudmouth starts choking, trapped by some invisible force, and she casually drops that he can speak again in a year. Savage. With that handled, she turns back to Shun. He is still denying absolutely everything, but her cheeky smirk says she knows exactly what is up. She pretends to back off, making Shun think he is totally safe. Then bam, she lunges at him with a dagger out of nowhere. Caught totally off guard, Shun barely manages to block the surprise attack, dodging as the blade grazes his face. He calls out her ghost trick, seeing right through the illusion, only to realize that dagger is very, very real. Pure instinct takes over, and he fires up black flame magic to defend himself. But Eurisha is just highly amused by his weird skill, and their powers clash in a massive flash of energy. She has him pinned down, bragging that her illusions are totally unbeatable, demanding to know why he is hiding massive dungeon secrets. Our boy is sweating cold bullets, completely speechless, while she gives this entirely believable champion of justice speech. Turns out she hunts bugged monsters and wants to know whose side he is on, threatening to mute him like that loudmouth. Shun recognizes the silence technique, realizing how bloody complicated this has become, while regretting he could not avoid this massive public scene. Left with literally zero choices, he starts revealing his second bug skill. This triggers a pretty shocked reaction from the S rank. He grits his teeth, firing up the new power, thinking how much he hated drawing attention. But here is where it gets absolutely mental. Watch this. He drops his low-profile act, unleashing his second skill. Dark energy floods the room, and Eurisha is visibly stunned by his sudden massive power spike. This new attack principle ability supercharges his blade, letting him push back hard against the S rank with a furious shout. Eurisha grins, realizing her own power spiked too, but the raw brute force of the clash actually sends Shun stumbling backward. She towers over him, asking if he was holding back this entire time. Admitting he definitely did not look like it, adding to the mystery. Meanwhile, everyone is completely losing their minds seeing a rookie fight Eurisha. Though Lise just smiles without flinching, she picked a winner. They stare each other down in a silent battle of wills. Meanwhile, Shun focuses entirely on his brand new skill. He figures it is just a simple attack buff, which is a fairly solid start. Then he opens his status screen to check the maths, revealing his attack is now 210, 10 times higher than before. Eurisha points out that is literally impossible by the rules, looking way more fascinated than angry at this game-breaking mad lad. Her weird reaction leaves Shun completely baffled, right as a sudden flash memory crosses his mind. A hand with strange markings, followed by a vision of a guy totally surrounded by flames. Shun gets trapped in a horrific battlefield illusion, where a version of himself commands absolute chaos while other people scream for help. You and I both know this is bad news. He watches the carnage, realizing Eurytia is showing him this nightmare, wondering what her twisted game is. The vision shifts to show Eurytia in danger, which seems to be the final missing piece of her little test puzzle. She is honestly impressed he could stay calm and analyze the situation, concluding that his anger proves he is not allied with the enemy. With that, the illusion shatters into purple fragments, and she offers a very smug apology, glad he is not a villain. Our boy is totally gobsmacked, trying to explain he meant no harm. But she already figured out his whole quiet life deal. She's also genuinely shocked he could parry her sword, leaving Shun stammering out a thanks for the incredibly violent job interview. He finally lets his skill fade, believing the danger has passed, and Eurytia lifts the silence curse off that loudmouth from earlier. She gives a half-hearted apology for being slightly intense. Then her face goes dark, admitting she absolutely loves bullying the weak. The poor bloke who got his voice back goes mute again from pure fear, running away with his mate. Leaving Shun entirely alone with the terrifying S-rank, Eurytia steps closer, promising to do something nice for Shun to apologize. Her smile is not comforting in the slightest as she tells him to stay put. Behind them, her hardcore fans are having a total meltdown, begging for 1 second of her attention. A massive queue of men has formed, hoping for an audience with the S-rank. The whole hall is basically a giant autograph line now. She rejects everyone, telling one bloke to come back in 10 years. Our poor boy is so confused. While Lise watches, Eurytia could not care less about her fan club. She turns to Shun and flat out asks him to date her. That sends the whole guild into collective shock. She clarifies she did not mean it that way, while Lise scolds her. Trust me, we have to see what happens next. Stick with me here, she wants him in her elite guild, Leventon, and our mate is absolutely sweating. His brain just blue screens at this job offer. He finally snaps, yelling that this is completely bonkers. Turns out Leventon is the ultimate S-rank squad. Their entire gig is hunting glitch monsters like that dragon, because those absolute units can casually wipe out entire cities. None of this makes sense to Shun. His rubbish level makes him an E rank. Eurytia steps right into his personal space, asking if he actually battered that void dragon. She explains they are massive threats, so she is scouting anyone with real potential. Shun is totally overwhelmed by this out-of-nowhere pitch. He points out she is literally recruiting him in front of the whole guild, while everyone else whispers with massive jealousy. Then Eurytia drops the ultimate bait, sweet revenge on his bullies. The crowd is gobsmacked this rookie is getting picked up. For a split second, Shun actually considers the fame. He admits it is super tempting, but he has a bigger reason to say no. Cue the painful flashback of his dad leaving for a mission. The memory is super clear. His dad apologizing for leaving, promising he would return one day, and telling him to be good. But tiny Shun just wanted to be an adventurer with his dad. He swore to find him, no matter what. Back to reality, that promise locks in his choice. Eurytia grabs his arm, totally ready to drag him away. She is planning a meet and greet with her boss, but Shun looks away, apologizing for what he is about to drop. With absolute conviction, he formally bends her exclusive invite. Suddenly, a sickly sweet scent fills the room. Now watch closely as purple magic swirls. Her voice echoes from the shadows, clearly fuming over getting dumped. She spawns right behind him, declaring she will just take him by force. Boundaries, never heard of them. Eurytia gets cheeky, whispering he is coming with her. Consent is fully optional here. Her magic slams into him, fogging his brain and making him docile, using an illusion skill so he just obeys. But he fights it, barely standing up while shouting her name out loud. Even under full mind control. He still tries to politely say no, leaving Eurytia absolutely stunned. He breaks free entirely on his own. Lise steps in, telling the S-rank to back off. Because no means no. With a massive dramatic sigh, Eurytia gives up, figuring it just cannot be helped. So she switches tactics, asking if he knows anything about the dragon. Shun admits the dragon mystery is still totally unsolved. He remembers how the beast literally spawned out of nowhere. Our guy is deep in thought while she watches him, waiting. He reveals that Levinton actually predicted a monster spawning right here. Which is exactly why she wanted extra clues. Shun finally gets it. This whole aggressive recruitment was just about hunting monsters. His focus shifts to those two dodgy blokes from earlier slipping out the door. He recognizes them as Gasseria's goons making a cheeky escape. Suddenly, a blue energy slash rips right past his face. Total surprise attack. The hall erupts into pure chaos as stone monsters crash the party. Everyone legs it while a massive beast leads the guild assault. The guild adventurers immediately jump straight into the fray, totally hyped for a scrap. We both know these flaming stone golems are definitely not your average low-tier dungeon trash. An entire squad of warriors gets absolutely bodied by one massive beast, and some poor bloke gets launched by a devastating punch. This golem just stares down at them, completely unbothered by their pathetic little resistance. Meanwhile, its mates move with impossible glitchy speed, chucking the adventurers straight into the walls like they are absolute paper weights. From the entrance, some arrogant bloke calls this bloody massacre pathetic. What a hero. Even he is shocked when a golem basically teleports right to his face. Eurisha uses an appraisal stone, confirming these freaks break every rule. The results pop up. It is a jumping golem, and its power level is completely unreadable. This leaves Eurisha absolutely stunned, while Lise calmly announces that round 2 has officially started. It is a glitch monster raid, and worse, there is an army, so Eurisha's purple aura explodes with absolute terrifying power. She casually spawns an entire squad of ethereal energy clones, fully prepped for war. Leaving Shun totally speechless at the true might of an S rank, she declares herself a champion of justice, which is hilarious irony coming from her. Then her face twists into pure, unhinged rage, swearing she will not forgive this nonsense. In a flash of purple light, she dives straight into the chaos, looking like the terrifying S-rank she truly is, ready to wipe the floor. Her clones unleash a massive storm of energy whips. Shun is totally mind-blown, realizing her illusions are actually solid hitting physical attacks. She yells how rude these monsters are. Trust me, we just learned never to interrupt her. Alright, stick with me here, we are watching this city completely under siege. Golems are swarming the rooftops, way too many for one rank S hunter to handle. So Shun tells you to handle the evacuation, while he jumps straight into the chaos. He powers up, knowing he has to go all out, just in time to see a massive golem about to crush a little kid. In a flash, Shun appears, blocking the giant punch with his sword. His attack principle skill activates, letting him counter-strike with absolutely everything. He tells the terrified kid to run and hide while he draws aggro. With a quick thanks, the boy dips, leaving Shun alone. And by alone, I mean facing off against 3 massive, furious rock monsters. A quick look at his status screen forces some fast battle math. He realizes his attack buff is way too short. He needs one absolute finishing blow with grand magic. While the city burns, our guy keeps strategizing. He notices the golems aren't even trying to teleport attack Eurisha at all. Suddenly it clicks. He connects the dots right before a golem instantly teleports right into his face. Because of course, now pay attention, this is where it gets wild. He realizes he has one single shot to survive. The golems move with that glitchy teleport, and Shun takes an absolutely massive hit. He realizes they aren't just fast. Even with his guard up, his health is dropping fast every single strike. Over his shoulder, the kid begs him not to die while a golem readies the killing blow, but with pure determination in his eyes. Shun decides he is not done yet. He launches into the air for one final, desperate strike, while Eurisha screams his name in total panic. But our boy knows there's only one way to win, finally revealing his secret. It is not teleportation at all. Turns out it is just a high-speed dash that only works in a straight line, so he baits them into lining up perfectly. What a boss, then he activates his own glitch skill, Black Flame Magic. He unleashes a torrent of absolute purple doom, and a massive energy beam completely incinerates the entire street. The kid and his mom can only stare in pure shock, while Eurisha watches, completely blown away by his hidden power. This absolute pillar of purple fire erases the golems from existence, leaving Shun standing there looking totally badass. Meanwhile, Gaseria's lackeys watch from afar, completely freaking out about what that magic was. Eurisha just stares, realizing that it is not just his magic that is totally insane. You saw that too, right? He strategically waited for the exact perfect moment to strike, proving he is anything but ordinary. Suddenly, a massive system notification pops right up into Shun's face, announcing he gained experience and leveled up 4 times. Plus, as a bonus, he gets a new glitch skill, Avenger's Curse. Our boy just stares at the screen, totally confused by this new skill, which turns out to be a crazy damage reflection ability. Basically a massive know-you moment. He connects the dots, realizing his curse is lifting, remembering the cryptic smile of the person who cursed him. Now he is just standing there processing another broken skill, when the kid he saved shyly calls out to get his attention, thanking him with the biggest, most genuine smile ever. Shun is genuinely surprised by the real gratitude. He tells the kid and mom he is just glad they are safe. Later that same night, the city is finally completely peaceful under the moonlight, until an old man starts dramatically crying all over Shun, who is now dodging a super emotional hug from the town's mayor. Turns out the mayor is a wreck because Shun saved his precious granddaughter. Now our boy is being showered with drinks. Classic hero reward. Eurisha leans in way too close, telling Shun to drop all the modesty while he pours the wine, insisting he should be proud of saving a life. A completely wasted Lise slams her mug, shouting about how awesome he is. With another round ordered, Shun thinks this is all a bit too much. Off to the side, Gaseria's goons are boiling with rage, watching this low-level guy getting all the praise. They are absolutely convinced he must be cheating just to attract so many women, but the kid he saved walks up, telling them to stop trash-talking his hero. Then he asks if they have no shame as adults. The goons are caught off guard, trying to talk down to him, but the kid ignores them, screaming that talking trash about people is just plain wrong. Getting roasted by a kid leaves them completely speechless. That is exactly where we leave it. Alright, you and I are jumping right back in. Shun watches this whole scene with a quiet laugh, thinking peace is finally back. But Eurisha looks super deep in thought over her drink. She suddenly asks Shun if he remembers their chat, pointing out how those error monsters always spawn with absolutely zero warning. Shun instantly connects this to the sudden arrival of the Void Dragon. It is a crazy detail that has been bothering him for a while. He remembers Gaseria was not even the summoner, hinting at a much bigger mystery. So he asks Eurisha why her investigation specifically pointed right to this exact city. Eurisha explains that error monsters tend to respawn in the exact same areas and points out the pattern on a map. While the reason remains completely unknown, this gets Shun thinking super deeply, wondering if it is all just a random coincidence or if there is some deliberate intent behind the attacks. A totally horrifying possibility hits him. He suddenly jumps up, telling Eurisha to follow him while stepping right over a sleeping Lai. Pay attention here because our boy thinks he missed something absolutely massive. They hit the ruined streets to investigate his crazy gut feeling. Somewhere else, Gaseria's goons check a dead golem, noting its super low power. The boss instantly connects this to that suspiciously weak void dragon they fought. Their theory is that summoned monsters just need time to sync up with the world. Standing in the ruins, they look super satisfied with this. Right then, Shun ambushes them with a blinding sword strike. The goon barely blocks it just as Shun's insanely dark aura fiercely comes to life. With Eurisha watching his back, he accuses them of plotting. These goons simply laugh, joking they really should have set up a repelling barrier. Eurisha instantly recognizes these 2 guild clowns and Shun completely confirms it. They are Gaseria's goons from the dragon incident, but the lackey drops a bomb. The monster attacks are not random at all, claiming they are orchestrated by people at both events. Shun's theory completely solidifies. Somebody else was pulling all the strings behind Gaseria. And the goons are right there, arrogantly confirming he finally figured it out. A super tense silence hangs heavily in the air. The lead goon even praises him for finding their intentional breadcrumbs, while Eurisha is totally lost, wondering what they are even talking about. Then the sidekick cries totally fake crocodile tears, mourning his dear old buddy Gesseria. Eurytia has heard way more than enough. Dashing with purple energy, she lands a vicious spinning kick straight into his ugly face. With a super cold smile, she tells him she totally hates noisy men, threatening to shut his mouth forever, and violently presses a glowing blade right against the goon's forehead. She holds it right there, demanding he shut his mouth. But the guy smirks, calling her attack harsh. We all saw this coming, right? A brand new player enters the game, catching her blade barehanded. Eurytia is totally shook. Her attack did absolutely zero damage. She just stares, completely baffled by his mystery technique, while this new guy gives a mocking bow. Honored to meet an S rank, he has a sinister look and a weird mark glowing on his cheek. Then he drops the real bomb, telling Shun he only figured it out because of Pharaoh. Shun is totally mind blown, demanding to know how the stranger knows his dad's name. This new guy smirks, confirming he knows, but his partner tries shutting him up for talking way too much. A memo the blonde dude completely forgot. Shun's insanely dark aura violently explodes all around him, giving them a simple one-word order. Speak. He gets right in their faces, totally done asking nicely, and with eyes glowing pure red, he demands they spit out absolute everything. This totally triggers a flashback of young Shun begging his dad not to leave, but Pharaoh just gives him a sad and super understanding smile, explaining he has to go stop the real mastermind behind all these monster attacks. Little Shun is absolutely heartbroken, crying because he wanted to be an adventurer together. He vows right there to get way stronger and find him someday. We see him training alone while villagers gossip nonstop about his dad, who never came back, mocking the poor kid for still believing his dad's impossible dream. Hearing all this, young Shun's hands violently shake with pure helpless rage and anger. And of course, a local bully decides to stomp his hand for fun. This little punk actually has the nerve to call his legendary dad trash, laughing at his titles of world's strongest and hope of the world. Shun, beaten on the ground, insists his dad is not dead or a liar. Trust me, you are going to want to see what happens next. He gets punched for talking back. To top it off, he declares Shun his personal plaything. What an absolutely lovely childhood. All right, stick with me here. Back in the present, all that rage becomes a weapon, repeating his demand one final time. Shun's dark aura totally explodes, eyes glowing with pure fury, but the henchman smugly says he owes him zero answers. In a flash, Shun closes the gap with wild dark tendrils absolutely lashing out, leaving the guy totally stunned by his crazy, impossible speed. A massive blast of dark energy sends him flying straight across the street, skidding backwards while the blonde dude just watches, looking absolutely entertained by the whole show. This new guy is loving the spectacle, calling Shun's raw power totally incredible. Eurytia readies her blade, but Shun flat out tells her to stay back. This is his fight and he's finishing it solo. She finally gets it. This entire showdown is about his dad. The blonde guy just chuckles, pointing a mocking finger, and with one simple snap, he summons a whole squad of rock golems. Now our boy is completely surrounded by rock-faced goons, but he doesn't even blink, just giving them a hardcore death stare. The blonde orders them to crush him all at once, so Shun casually unleashes one clean, absolutely devastating wave from his sword. Eurytia can only stare in shock at the instant wipeout. Even the blonde guy's cocky smirk wavers for a second, realizing his entire army got one-shotted. Then this main henchman scolds Carla for goofing around, dropping a mention about some message from their boss. The head henchman warns Carla that Pharaoh will get super mad at this rate, while Shun starts absolutely demanding why they keep using his dad's name. Carla just laughs, telling him to forget what he just heard. A totally classic distraction tactic. You're going to want to watch this. Eurytia doesn't wait, throwing a surprise back attack as massive purple energy erupts right where he stood. She puts everything into that vicious strike, a move so suddenly savage it actually manages to catch Shun completely off guard. Turns out all she blasted were a couple of super cheap decoy clones. Shun stands over the rubble, realizing the real targets vanished, and boom, there they are chilling on a rooftop, acting like they're just watching a theater play. That main henchman scolds Carla again, reminding him that taunting the enemy was strictly forbidden. Down below, Shun radiates absolute pure rage. Carla then tries stirring the pot, telling Shun to ask Eurisha for details, arrogantly hinting that she knows exactly why she attacked him earlier. Eurisha yells at him to shut up, and he mockingly agrees to drop it. Their mission is done anyway, he claims, promising they'll definitely meet again. Then with one final sneer, they step into a teleport gate to make their grand exit, but a single glowing red eye pierces the darkness. Shun is not letting them escape. Carla's arrogant little smirk vanishes in an instant, replaced by pure shock because Shun is standing right behind him, blade raised high and absolutely ready to finish this whole thing. Shun brings down a massive arc of dark energy, aiming to split them in half, while the main henchman cannot believe the sheer, absurd power behind that swing. With glowing red eyes, Shun loudly reminds them that he's the one ending this fight. Their defenses barely hold off the furious assault, as sparks go flying absolutely everywhere. And our boy just roars, swearing to take them both down right here. You and I both see it, these villains casually cross their arms, looking totally bored, blocking a world-ending attack. He screams his promise, channeling all that wild rage into his blade, but the head henchman casually throws up a clear energy shield, completely unbothered by the hype. What a buzzkill! Shun is completely stunned. His ultimate attack got entirely blocked. This guy even critiques his form, saying the spirit is awesome but the hit is way too light. It's not over yet. Shun leaps into the air for another crack at it, making Carla smile, officially deciding that playtime is 100% over. Something totally new is coming, and Shun feels it. He unleashes his black flame magic, a seriously concentrated blast straight from his hand, manifesting as a wild storm of black lightning raining down on Carla. This entire rooftop erupts into a blinding, insane explosion of raw power. Yet Carla just stands there with a smoking hand, having literally never seen black lightning before. Even Shun is confused, wondering if it's the exact same as his own black flames. Carla puts the pieces together, realizing he also wields their demon master's power. Shun is totally reeling, realizing his dark power matches theirs, and the main henchman admits they're also super shocked that he somehow managed to awaken it all on his own. Then he actually extends a super suspicious little job offer. Come with us. Shun's counteroffer implies they surrender immediately, and with a crazy ground-shaking stomp, he aggressively demands they start talking right now. Carla laughs, declaring talks failed. Trust me, we gotta see what happens next. Stick with me here. He powers up his blade, deciding it is time to get his hands dirty. So Shun instantly answers that charge, his own sword crackling with pure, dark energy. Their blades are right about to clash when Carla literally vanishes mid-swing. Boom, gone, leaving Shun swinging at absolutely nothing but empty air. Totally confused, right? Suddenly, a surprise blast of red energy slashes him from behind. Classic dirty trick. Even Carla looks a bit thrown off, wondering if this kid is actually the son of Pharos. But Shun just grunts. He brushes off that heavy hit like it was absolutely nothing. He immediately dives right back into the fight, pure rage fueling his attack, and then it clicks. He figures it out. This guy's skill is instant teleportation. Eurisha spots this cheap trick and gets ready to jump in, but Shun stops her dead in her tracks. He insists this is his fight to finish. Suddenly, a massive pillar of pure dark aura explodes all around him. Yeah, playtime is officially over. His eyes glowing bright red, he dares both of them to come at him together, and Carla's response, the guy literally starts clapping. Totally hyped by this massive power flex, Carla thinks Shun is crazy reckless for fighting them solo. A terrible strategy, but the main henchman warns him not to underestimate the son of Pharos. Carla just smirks, calling this whole thing a glorious finale. Now watch closely. With a scream, the head henchman charges, powering up a massive attack that summons a literal mountain of jagged swords from the ground. Shun is left completely stunned by the sheer scale of it all. Our boy just stares up at this impossible wall of blades, and Carla decides to add his own special flavor to the sword mountain. He drops another one of his super dramatic finger snaps, which summons an entirely new shower of deadly swords in the sky right above Shun. This unavoidable rain of death is ready to drop, and the blades come screaming down in an all-out bombardment. Eurisha can only scream his name, watching in absolute horror. As Shun gets completely skewered, taking the full, brutal force of the attack. He digs his heels in, flat out refusing to drop. With his dark aura blazing, he just pushes through the pain. The main henchman is totally shocked. Did not see that coming. With a roar, Shun shatters every single sword piercing him, making even Carla's smug face drop in absolute, utter disbelief. And then a new message appears. Skill activation error. Suddenly a totally new ability drops, Avenger's Curse, aimed right at the main henchman. And the system explains it is basically a simple return to sender for any damage taken. Carla immediately starts bleeding, slapped with some top-tier instant karma, because walking right through that smoke is Shun, now rocking white hair and a massive power boost. This henchman is taking heavy damage. He finally realizes the curse hit him too. You saw that coming, right? But Carla just starts laughing maniacally, realizing Shun baited them on purpose. Shun wastes zero time, unleashing a secret sword technique with his brand new power. A devastating purple slash called Kagutsuchi that fills the whole screen, crashing straight into Carla and sending him flying right off the roof. With the villains finally down, Eurisha moves in to secure the victory. She casts a binding spell, a glowing magic circle flashing in her hand. The spell hits the mark perfectly, wrapping both henchmen up tight in ropes of pure light. Instead of panicking, the main lackey just bursts out laughing, calling this whole situation absolutely magnificent. Eurisha says it is a real shame, even for the son of Pharos. While the henchman is still trying to recruit Shun, rambling about better paths, Shun's response, he literally just brushes the dirt off his shoulder. Total power move. He finally tells them they are getting on his nerves. Standing over their defeated bodies under the pale moonlight, you can clearly see the pure exhaustion on his face, but he is not backing down. And Eurisha just watches him closely, with the intense battle finally over. The adrenaline totally fades and Shun just collapses, getting caught by Eurisha. She frantically asks if he is okay, while he just apologizes for the trouble. Meanwhile, she is internally panicking over the absolutely insane power he just showed off. Glancing at the knocked-out henchman, Shun finally asks who these guys even are. But Eurisha just tells him not to worry about it for now, revealing she already called for guild backup, who are just now showing up. Shun dryly mentions they are a little late, with the fight already over. So she just hands him a health potion, hyping it up as her special superior recovery potion. Really top-tier stuff. She then offers to give it to him mouth to mouth, and our guy nearly panics. I would do the same, honestly. He quickly snatches the potion, chugging it himself. Much appreciated. Instantly, a warm wave of healing energy washes right over him. Grateful, he thanks her for the crazy expensive gift, which she just completely brushes off. But her expression gets dead serious. She says they need to talk privately. He's a bit confused, but she insists they can't leave things hanging. Why? Because she has something huge to tell him about his dad. Stick with me here because she drops a massive bombshell. His dad created the error monsters. Shun slams the table, no way. He absolutely refuses to believe it. Eurisha admits it's a brutal truth, but her guild figured this out years ago. Actually, she says that exact suspicion is why she didn't trust him at first. Shun points out the villains already hinted at his dad being involved. Eurisha confirms it. The investigation into Pharos is about to get seriously intense. Our boy just sits there, trying to process this totally world-shattering news. She knows it's a lot to handle, but hey, it is what it is. Flashback time, she describes his old man as an absolute legend of an adventurer. A guy so incredibly strong, he was top tier even among S-ranks. In fact, she admits her entire squad could not even lay a single finger on him. But everything changed after his epic fight with the Demon Lord. Back to reality. She apologizes for dropping this nuke, and Shun silently pieces it all together. Suddenly, it all makes a horrible kind of sense. Now watch closely. He realizes her offer was actually a spy mission. He asks for the truth, and her face screams, busted. With a sigh, she admits he's just like his dad. Totally impossible to fool. She tries softening the blow, saying they're all just patriots here. She even offers to drop the whole recruitment thing if he wants out. A quick memory shows her guildmates saying Shun would understand, but he cuts her off, demanding to join Levantin right now, zero questions asked. Eurisha is completely blindsided by this wild 180 turn. Shun explains that if they are hunting his dad, they're on the same team. After all, his main goal as an adventurer was finding him anyway. Eurisha is left completely speechless, shocked by his sudden declaration, and right then, a wild new challenger bursts through the door. It's Lise. She's crying her eyes out, demanding to know where Shun thinks he's going. She instantly latches right onto him. Begging not to be left behind and reeking of alcohol with zero shame, she actually pleads with Eurisha to tag along. And Eurisha, she finds this absolutely hilarious. She says sure, assuming she passes the exam. Lisa's confidence is through the roof. She winks, bragging that her power guarantees an easy pass. Meanwhile, our boy is just wondering what power she even means. Eurisha sighs, thinking she almost seemed completely normal for a second. We both see it right. Shun realizes she's exactly that kind of overly clingy girl. So he finally gives in, agreeing they will leave tomorrow, but she wants to go now. His excuse is they can't possibly travel with a drunk. She finds this deeply offensive and fires back. She insists she doesn't care what anyone thinks because it's Shun's actual character that makes her follow him. Then Eurisha drops her own bomb. She casually admits that's why she fell for him too. This just fuels Lisa's passion, swearing to make his dreams come true. Shun is blushing hard, completely short-circuiting over this double confession. And meanwhile, Eurisha is just totally enjoying the hilarious chaos she helped create. She even congratulates him on having such a cute follower, but then her tone gets serious. She asks if his resolve to join them is still solid. Shun swears to join Levantin and uncover his dad's secrets. Eurisha looks absolutely thrilled, completely understanding him. She admits she'd rather not make an enemy out of Pharaoh's son, sealing their brand new alliance. And with fresh determination, Shun silently promises his dad he's coming. He's fired up, swearing to catch his old man. So they finally arrive at Windsor, the city holding the Levantin Guild headquarters. Our boy is immediately hit by a massively crowded plaza. The whole place is buzzing with energy. Lisa's mind blown, thinking it looks more like a crazy festival than a city, but Eurisha laughs, explaining the exam is basically a massive public show. Now this giant crowd makes Shun super nervous. Eurisha finds it hilarious, explaining the test is just high-level one-on-one duels, a true spectator sport for everyone. You and I know our boy. He's definitely not a fan of performing for a giant audience. She tries calming him down, saying an A-rank examiner is absolutely nothing to worry about. Since he survived her, Shun's face drops, realizing with huge relief there are no other monsters like her in this exam. All right, mates, let's dive into this madness while Lise gets completely fired up here. Anyway, Eurisha points him toward the massive building. Straight ahead, time for the reception. So both Shun and Lise follow her gaze, looking way up at their destination. And what they see is a ridiculously huge, castle-like headquarters looming over them like an absolute unit. Inside, a pair of official-looking receptionists spot them. They give Eurisha a full-blown superstar welcome complete with actual sparkles, completely fawning over her latest catch like a literal, bonkers fan club in uniform. Shun just wants to know who these intense women are, and finally they notice him. Their immediate reaction is pure rage at this bloke. Nobody walks next to their queen. Eurisha has to jump in, explaining that he actually helped and is here to test. But this news goes down terribly. They call him a cheeky credit thief. Lise cannot take it, immediately jumping in to defend Shun and his honor. Meanwhile, our boy just shrugs it off, saying he is totally used to this rubbish treatment. Stepping right up to his face, they warn him not to expect a free pass. Eurisha is so completely done. Covering her face at her own subordinates' drama, she drops the nice act entirely, giving them a cold glare promising some severe bloody consequences. Which suddenly terrifies them both, as they realize they just messed with the absolute wrong person's very important guest. With a quick smile, Eurisha reminds them that Lise is a candidate too, getting them back on track. Now on their very best behavior, the two offer to guide the brand new applicants. Now watch closely because this massive golden gate is where things get truly bonkers. A new purple-haired receptionist greets them there, confirming they are the challengers. She says Eurisha already brought her up to speed, offering to answer absolutely any questions they might have. Then she starts the briefing, handing a pamphlet to Lise first. Shun just watches the handoff without getting one himself, leaving him completely baffled about what is going on. Shun grabs the pamphlet. A weird feeling suddenly washes right over him, and that purple-haired receptionist flashes a proper supervillain smile. That is enough to make our boy's danger sense go completely mental. He screams a warning at Lise, realizing this is a total trap, but it is too late. The receptionist already has her at actual knife point. Furious, Shun demands to know what the hell she is doing. She just casually tells him to drop his sword, extremely politely. This cheeky imposter then calls him by his full name, Shun Bright, so he asks the obvious question. Aren't you supposed to be guild staff? She just laughs, telling him he really isn't being cautious enough. Turns out she is a shapeshifter, copying looks, voices, absolutely everything. You and I totally saw this coming, right? Infiltrating Leventon was a complete cakewalk. The pieces finally click for Shun. She is one of the villains they literally just fought. She is thrilled he figured it out, confirming she heard about her mates getting captured. She then demands to know their exact location. Pressing the blade against Lisa's throat, but Shun tries to keep his cool, casually asking what happens if he doesn't know. This villain just laughs, reminding him he doesn't exactly have another option here. The threat is crystal clear right now: cooperate or the hostage dies. Lise, bless her heart, screams at him not to give in, leaving Shun completely cornered and just grinding his teeth in pure frustration. Shun grips his sword firmly, accepting her terms, or so it seems. The villain smugly tells him to drop the weapon, fully believing she already won, but our boy just stands there, keeping his sword firmly in hand. Not moving a single inch, he narrows his eyes while a cheeky plan forms in his head. Lise looks absolutely terrified, but then spots something weird. Because this bizarre purple energy starts pulsing around her and her captor, she suddenly realizes exactly what is going down, seeing Shun's clear intention in her own mind. It is his crazy power, not hers. And she finally gets his mental plan. This energy explodes outward, making her scream as it engulfs them both, leaving the villain completely gobsmacked by this sudden power burst. In a flash, the blast knocks the shapeshifter right away from Lise. She crashes hard into a wall, totally baffled by where that power came from. Shun just smirks, his hair literally glowing, admitting that his brilliant plan actually worked. Revealing he bet absolutely everything on using an attack redirection skill on her. This villain is absolutely fuming, realizing he played her using her own hostage. But Shun's power spikes massively as he tells her to go to hell, firing a colossal blast of raw energy straight at her. She takes the hit head-on, trapped right in the smoke and rubble. He stays on high alert as the dust settles, worried there might be more of them lurking. That is where we leave it, mates. He immediately screams a massive warning to the building about the intruder. Stick with me here, that villain. Turns out she is actually Eurisha's backup, rocking this insanely smug smile as she totally eats up the confusion. She then pats him on the back, calling his work absolutely flawless before dropping the bomb that both Shun and Lise pass the prelims. Looking down from her sweet vantage point, she is completely thrilled. Meanwhile, our main duo is just standing there, utterly speechless at the twist. She then confirms the whole hostage crisis was literally just an exam setup. Human resources here is absolutely wild. She drops a cheeky apology for the little life-threatening surprise. Shun is basically fighting off a heart attack, asking if all this madness was really for him. And of course, she fires back with a massive yes. They cannot just let random spies walk in. It was a hardcore loyalty check to see if he would crack under pressure. The pieces finally click for Shun. He realizes this was a twisted double-layered test and reluctantly admits why Leventon is known as elite tier. The examiner then turns to Lise, hyping her up for those crazy fast reflexes. Lise just winks right back, flashing a peace sign while hinting she is super used to this stuff. But Shun kills the vibe, reminding everyone these were only prelims. The examiner's face goes dead serious, warning that the real challenges will not be so forgiving. Now watch closely, the scene suddenly shifts to a massive coliseum. A blinding flash of impact completely lights up the arena, and some poor guy gets absolutely wrecked in front of a screaming crowd. Lisa's completely losing her mind with hype over the arena setup. Meanwhile, Shun tries to process this insane, massive crowd. Down below, an announcer hypes up the next challenger, a rookie packing a glowing recommendation from Eurisha. Then they call his name, and our boy knows it is showtime. He tells Lise he is heading out, catching one final cheer of support. But before his match, we spot another applicant, a blonde dude staring at the arena gates, visibly sweating every single ounce of that heavy pre-fight pressure. Still, he locks in, mentally psyching himself up to survive somehow. Back in the arena, the announcer gears up to introduce Shun's official examiner, who turns out to be a super calm guy in a white coat drawing his blade. Suddenly, a massive noise makes Shun whip his head around in total confusion. The entire crowd is on the edge of their seats watching the chaos unfold. A gigantic pillar of pure fire erupts from the arena floor, catching another poor challenger completely off guard. The examiner watches as the guy realizes someone just swooped in to save his life. A new red-haired guy appears, casually announcing he arrived just in time. What an entrance, but the examiner asked is not amused, demanding why this guy interrupted his test. The newcomer just smirks, claiming he heard rumors about an interesting rookie and flew all the way from the desert. This leaves the crowd absolutely mind blown. That is a 2-week carriage ride. He then locks eyes with Shun, asking to confirm if he is the guy he wants. You saw that coming, right? This redhead just waltzes in, proposing a 2-on-1 battle for Shun's entry, and Shun is totally stunned by this sudden schedule shift. The newcomer adds that backing down means an automatic fail, absolutely no pressure. Our boy starts full-on panicking, realizing he is now facing a brutal double test. Up in the stands, the crowd is eating up this unexpected drama. Asked, the original examiner protests this madness. Revealing the intruder is actually an S-rank adventurer, he insists this is way too much for a rookie, even one backed by Eurisha. But the S-rank just grins, turning back to Shun to ask what his move is. Against all odds, Shun accepts, telling both of them to bring it on together. He powers up his blade, thinking this is the perfect chance to get answers faster. The redhead is super hyped by his spirit, while Ast looks ready to pass out. They set the simple rules. Pass out, give up, or get knocked out of the ring to lose. Ast tries warning the S-rank he is underestimating Shun, but gets cut off because the challenger already accepted, so he needs to step back. But suddenly, the S-rank's friendly vibe drops completely, replaced by a seriously terrifying, menacing glare. This leaves Ast absolutely terrified as he realizes his place. Then, the newcomer unleashes a massive aura crackling with intense fire and lightning. We both felt that shockwave hit the entire audience, and Shun watches as a memory finally clicks regarding this insane kind of power. Remembering that some people are born with the 1 in 10,000 miracle of possessing multiple abilities. Alright mate, you and I are about to meet S-Rank Asia, the infinite magic master. Bloke uses literally every element, smirking because he senses traces of Shun's dad, Pharaoh's, in him. That name drops Shun right in his tracks while Ast is just buzzing for a scrap. Then he goes full anime villain, demanding Pharaoh's kid show him what he's packing. Shun is absolutely losing his mind here. Ast is mixing 4 elements straight off the bat, charging forward, totally ready to batter our boy. But Shun fights back, firing up his own glitched-out skill, this sick black flame magic. Their powers smash together in a massive energy blast that completely rocks the arena. The shockwave blasts the whole crowd back in their seats. Even the announcer is fighting for his life. Right in the absolute chaos. These two are locked in a dead-even sword clash. Ast is properly impressed, wondering what kind of mad magic just cancelled out his attack. Shun plays it cool, giving him a massive who knows. Ast just laughs, saying Shun's dad was just as mysterious and totally unbeatable. They kick off again with another blinding flash of impact. Now the original examiner jumps in, asking if Shun actually knows about his old man. Ask clocks it, realizing Shun is still chasing Pharaoh's ghost, and right then his whole vibe completely shifts. He drops a proposal, a simple deal. Pay attention here, if Shun actually beats him, he gets all the juicy secrets about his missing dad. Ast is honestly a bit taken aback by the kid's sudden hardcore intensity. Because Shun just explodes forward in a flash of purple light, he's moving so ridiculously fast he's basically a blur. Aiming straight for his head, leaving the S-rank genuinely gobsmacked by that raw mental speed. Their blades smash together, sending a massive shockwave rattling the arena. Shun screams at him to spill everything he knows right now. Ast just smirks, totally buzzing over the kid's insane speed. He decides to throw him a bone for that cracking fighting spirit. He reveals Shun's dad actually founded Leventon. That massive bombshell stops our boy dead in his tracks. Even though the brawl kicks back off with clashing steel. Shun is reeling, realizing his dad never told him squat. Ast laughs, freebies are over, mate, when to learn more, suddenly. The first examiner offers a hand, calling out the unfair 2-on-1, but Ast just gives him a pure death glare for interfering. The bloke tries explaining he just thought it would be interesting at first. Ast decides he wants this solo, leaving his colleague completely knocked out cold on the floor. You saw that too, right? Shun is completely baffled by this sudden workplace violence. Ast calmly announces the exam is now a one-on-one duel. If Shun can win this solo clash, he passes the test. He warns our boy not to get cocky because there is a massive catch. He's not holding back at all, erupting into a blazing aura. Shun watches, realizing this bloke is the real deal. Powering up like a madman, Ast is practically begging for a proper fight. Promising to go even harder now, the announcer looks like he desperately needs a new pair of trousers seeing this. Without another word, Shun plants his foot and Absolute launches himself forward. Yelling as he closes the gap in a speedy blur, their blades meeting in a massive flash of purple and gold light. Ast just laughs, praising his sword skills as equal to his dad's, then immediately roasts him for being a total magic noob. To prove it, he zaps Shun with a lightning strike that clearly stings way more than a bit. Ast lectures him that footwork is everything in a sword fight, then shows what happens when you stop by gut punching him. Shun stumbles back, totally on the defensive now at the arena's edge, barely hanging on. So Ast flies in for the final blow, crackling with electricity, but Shun is completely paralyzed. His legs are totally numb. In a last-ditch effort, he reaches out to summon something. Ast just smirks, already cracking Shun's black flame magic. While he's monologuing, our boy is busy summoning warp magic right from the ground, looking absolutely determined. Shun fires up the spell, ready for an epic comeback. But suddenly he's trapped in a blue energy vortex. He's completely baffled, getting battered by his own hijacked spell. Ast casually explains he's just using wind to redirect the flames. Basic Magic 101. That's where we leave it. Our boy is stuck in a magical blender, completely helpless. Let's jump in. Even the announcer thinks it's totally over, saying our boy is finished. Ast is just towering over Shun at the ring's edge. He looks completely bored, sighing that he actually expected a way better fight. He taunts him, asking if this is really his best shot. Ast jumps for the final blow, yelling Shun isn't ready for Leventon, but Shun, oh, he is absolutely boiling. His eyes just glow with pure rage. That literally stops Ast dead in his tracks. Shun goes totally defiant, unleashing this massive wave of purple energy and pushing back hard. Ast can only stare as Shun reveals his secret origin sword. He swings it down in a crazy, devastating arc called Kagetsuchi. This sudden insane power spike completely blows the S-rank adventurer away, forcing him straight onto the defensive. He barely blocks it using his lightning magic. Just like that, our boy Shun Jiraku is officially back in business. Now watch this. Ast thinks Shun is burning from his own attack. But that purple energy shatters his defenses, sending the S-rank flying across the entire arena. The announcer literally cannot process this, while Eurisha in the stands is just losing her mind screaming. Shun just stands there having completely flipped the script. Ast is on the floor dealing with a massive headache, but wait. Instead of getting mad, the guy just bursts out laughing. he realizes Shun absorbed his own flames to buff that attack. He totally admits the kid leveled up right in the middle. Our boy doesn't say a single word. He stays totally locked in. Ast notices that just keeping that aura up should drain him. But Shun looks like he could go all day. Then Ast drops a cryptic hint about outsmarting an old guy. That totally gets Shun's attention, right before Ast casually just says he gives up and takes the defeat. This random surrender puts the whole stadium in shock. Shun is super confused and speechless because the S-rank just quit mid-fight. Ast flashes a cheeky smile, confirming he is 100% serious. Shun's brain basically short-circuits at this wild twist. Even the announcer has an on-air meltdown, officially calling this the biggest upset of the century. So the winner is Shun, who is clearly still processing what just happened. Meanwhile, up above, Eurisha is freaking out with joy while another supporter smiles, admitting she was pretty worried. Our boy demands to know why Ast quit, knowing he was holding back. Ast admits it, and here is where it gets really interesting. If he had actually gone all out, this entire stadium would be a crater. That little bombshell leaves Shun totally speechless again. The S-rank says making someone beat him is a stupid test anyway. So don't sweat it, his recruitment is officially locked in. He shakes Shun's hand, welcoming him to the Levantin squad. But that smile is way too smug to trust. Anyway, he invites Shun to his private room for a little chat, promising to finally spill everything about that old man. Later on, Shun hits the private office, instantly asking for the intel. This kid wants everything on his dad, Pharaoh's. Ast gets this distant look, saying he still cannot believe what went down 10 years ago. Then Ast drops an absolute massive bombshell. Shun's dad straight up murdered the crown prince. We flash back 12 years to a red-haired adventurer fighting a manticore. He quickly realizes this boss is way too much for him. With a busted arm, he's totally on the defensive, thinking about his little sister to keep himself going. The monster doesn't care, charging a massive energy beam to finish him. The guy grimaces, just accepting his brutal fate. But at the literal last second, a mysterious swordsman deflects the attack. The red-haired guy just watches in shock. This armored stranger calmly asks if he's all right, before tossing him a glowing health potion to chug down. That is an insanely rare and super expensive medicine. And the stranger casually adds that this cave is actually an enemy research facility. While the kid tries to process that, the man strikes a match and sets the monster on fire. The adventurer panics, screaming that he needs the head as proof. Gotta get paid, but stick with me, the savior explains this chimera is totally bugged. Right mate, jump in with me here. Turns out this beast has insane regeneration. It just keeps reviving unless utterly wiped out, leaving our ginger lad completely gobsmacked by this immortal nightmare. The stranger makes it crystal clear this thing is from another world, ready to obliterate nations. Then our mysterious savior unleashes a wild blast of purple magic. Absolute focus on his face as he channels that energy and just completely vaporizes whatever was left of the monster. Young Ast can only watch, his brain totally fried by this absolutely mental power gap. He suddenly realizes that this bloke's sword skills and raw magic are just on a whole other level entirely. So naturally, he immediately begs this old-timer to be his master. But the guy just turns him down flat, saying his power is way too dangerous to teach. Back in the present, Ast explains that Encounter inspired him to build Levantin, a wicked organization strictly dedicated to fighting those interdimensional glitch monsters. Shun just smiles, saying that sounds exactly like his dad, the legendary world savior. And Ast agrees, noting his old man had dreams so massive everyone used to mock him. Despite all that rubbish, people followed him anyway, even the king himself, leaving Shun looking incredibly proud of the absolute hero his dad was. But here's where you and I must watch closely. Why did this hero kill the prince? Ast admits he has no clue. The government just dropped the headline with zero details, and the only thing Pharaoh's left behind was a cheeky note saying, "I am heading out, cracking communication." That is quite literally all the intel he has, and he doubts there is anything else to find. But Shun looks down, realizing it is the exact same old story. His dad simply walked off, shouldering a massive responsibility entirely on his own. Remembering his mum's heartbreak, he flat out refuses to believe his father is an actual villain. Shun's resolve is absolutely locked in, completely ready to chase down the truth about his dad. So Ast makes it totally official, proposing they hunt Pharaohs down. Together as proud members of Levantin, and our boy agrees, sealing the deal on this incredibly sudden partnership. Then Ast instantly shifts to the juicy stuff, asking about his relationship with a lass named Lise, who Shun claims just forced her way into his life. A total freeloader apparently, insisting he barely even knows the girl. A story that Ast clearly is not buying for a single second. He points out she is doing surprisingly brilliantly in her current match. Remembering she used to be super weak, which is massive news to Shun, who is completely baffled by her power-up. Now hold on to your seats for this shift. Down in a leaky, miserable dungeon, someone is having an absolutely awful day. Some green-haired bloke is getting brutally tortured. Sarcastically thanking his captors for the absolute 5-star treatment and just glares right at them, calling them the ugly mug of the nation. Zero fear from this absolute madman. One of the guards is not a fan of the cheeky banter, calling him a terrorist, which he finds just absolutely hilarious for some reason. His eyes start to glow brightly as he smirks, declaring it is time for the main event. Then a wild blast of purple magic erupts while he swears absolute loyalty to Pharaohs, Shun's dad, promising with a bloody grin that he will follow him forever, and with that, the whole bloody place just goes up in a massive explosion. Back in the office, Ast keeps his eyes glued to the arena, completely obsessed with Lisa's brawl, where she is mid-fight, actually looking proper shocked by her own ridiculous power. Ast is well impressed by her performance against an A rank, but Shun just asks what is so weird. Oh, he definitely knows something. Ast reveals he remembers Lise being way too fragile to fight a basic wolf, but now he calls her a total fraud, leaving Shun completely lost. From his point of view, her skills are easily a rank or maybe even higher. And just like that, she smashes her opponent down, winning the match flawlessly. Ast laughs his head off, buzzing that she finally won, but his face drops, noticing she only used her first name to sign up for the tournament. Right as he is connecting the dots, a massive tremor rocks them outside. A gigantic blast has ripped apart a chunk of the city, and people inside the building are screaming, just running around in sheer panic. Both Shun and Ast just stare, trying to wrap their heads around the sudden chaos, with thick smoke and flames rising from the city center. A spot that Ast instantly recognizes as the underground prison. It is the special facility for locking up superpowered criminals, a supposedly unbreakable fortress that is now just one giant raging bonfire. Shun wonders if some old rivals are pulling the strings here as he starts charging up. Then he simply blasts right out the window using his epic wind magic. This bloke is genuinely buzzing, calling it an interesting battle as he flies off. Our boy is utterly gobsmacked, realizing Ast can literally just fly. He can't just sit there gearing up to follow. Trust me, we gotta see this. Alright, stick with me, we're diving into absolute madness. Ast launches up and Shun panics, realizing he's getting left behind. But then, our boy gets a wild idea. Channeling all that purple magic straight into his feet, he literally starts doing parkour through the sky. Not too shabby for a rookie, he's absolutely stunned to realize this momentum boosts his attack power too, using the speed to slingshot himself right up behind Ast. Ast just glances back with a massive grin, calling Shun interesting. He challenges the kid to keep up the pace. Meanwhile, Shun is just mind blown that Ast still has this much insane energy after their massive brawl. They finally touch down on a rooftop overlooking the burning chaos, but then they both completely freeze at what's emerging from the smoke. An absolute swarm of dragons and wild beasts pouring out of the prison. His appraisal stone can't even read their levels, but he just calmly calls them bugged monsters. The S rank is absolutely hyped, screaming about all the fresh prey down there. His maniacal laughter is making Shun sweat a bit, and honestly, you and I would be terrified too. These shadowy nightmare creatures are literally boiling up from the ground, leaving our boy wondering what kind of absolute hell he just walked into. Ash, on the other hand, is totally focused. He is absolutely in his element, but then he notices something wild. The monsters are instantly regenerating. His reaction, he just smirks, calling it convenient. This guy is completely unhinged. He squares up against a massive dragon, ready for the time of his life. But suddenly, a blonde woman shows up, telling Ash not to hog all the fun. This is Eurisha, making one hell of an epic entrance, riding a monster's wing. She flashes a cheeky smirk, clearly eating up this absolute chaos, treating the disaster like her personal playground. But Ast argues that this massive rampage is way too close to headquarters. With a blinding flash of power, she gets ready to join the fray, pointing out that the monsters are underestimating them. A totally fatal mistake, honestly. Shun is completely starstruck by her aura, while Ash just looks utterly annoyed. His fanboy moment gets cut short when a dragon dives straight at him. Our boy unleashes a massive purple slash, refusing to back down an inch. But the attack just splits the beast right in half, triggering its nasty division skill. He is running on absolute fumes with just 30 energy points left, but quitting isn't an option. He goes all out, summoning a gigantic pillar of purple flame. Astounded, realizing Shun contained the blast just to protect the city, Shun fires right back with a compliment, totally amazed by Ast's insane level of magic control. But this little bonding moment gets ruined by a sky packed with dragons. They're hopelessly outnumbered. Then a system window pops up. He scored a brand new skill, temporal acceleration. But hold on, you're seeing this too, right? Shun somehow just leveled down. This crazy new skill literally messes with space and time, which sounds incredibly dangerous. With zero other options. He triggers that fourth bugged skill anyway. Meanwhile, down below, terrified civilians are sprinting for their absolute lives from a diving dragon. Shun's new power kicks into overdrive. He zooms right past the panicking crowd, launching himself face-first straight into the dragon's gaping jaws with his blade drawn. His eyes glow as he pours pure purple magic into the steel. Then he completely cleaves the entire monster in half with one absolutely brutal slash. Ast is totally floored that Shun hid this much firepower. Eurisha suggests they strike the source directly, and our boy, looking pretty roughed up, is totally on board with the plan. More beasts explode from the epicenter, so Eurisha decides to hold the line solo, telling the guys to push forward. She gives Shun a little encouraging shove. If he wants answers about his dad, now is the time to grab them. He's left speechless, totally blown away by her sudden faith in him. So Ash just tosses her a quick thanks, and they both blast off toward the disaster zone. They stumble upon a massive crater puking monsters out of a purple vortex, and standing dead center in the chaos, just one single guy. Ash immediately calls him out, demanding to know if he's the mastermind behind this massive disaster. It's the green-haired prisoner, looking insanely annoyed they crashed his party. Ash recognizes him as the former disciple of Pharaoh's. Realizing things just got super personal here, this dude completely scoffs, warning Ash not to lump him in with those total weaklings he calls Carla's little buddies. Revealing he actually traded his eyes for intel, just as a gigantic firebird violently erupts right behind him. A total flex that leaves both Shun and Ash completely shell-shocked. This villain just flashes a smug grin, adjusting his glasses. He is clearly ready to enjoy this. He calls this massive disaster a troublesome hobby. Ash immediately flags him as an executive-class threat. Trust me, you and I are gonna want to see this epic fight. Yeah, not kidding. You and I are about to watch our S-rank completely ignore asking questions and go straight for the takedown instead. Pharaoh's disciple just laughs off the whole capture idea, calling him totally bold. Then he just stands there, soaking up the fiery battlefield like it is some luxury 5-star resort. He says this is all just pre-show entertainment until his master arrives, introducing himself as Van Gale and demanding these humans put on a good show. Ast is more than happy to oblige. He jumps in with a massive attack that Van Gale casually blocks with one glowing hand, leaving Ast completely stunned. With glowing red eyes, he effortlessly overpowers the S-rank's heavy blade, sending Ast flying backward right into the dusty rubble. Van Gale drops a patronizing compliment, saying not bad for a human. For a split second, it actually looks like Ast is feeling the heavy pressure. But nope, he just realized this dude is a mage, and now he is literally glowing with pure hype. He is totally fired up, demanding a one-on-one fight with the old man. Meanwhile, Shun in the background tries reminding him they're supposed to be a team. Ast is way too busy feeling that battle tingle to listen, leaving poor Shun back there questioning all his life choices. Van Gale actually finds this whole display pretty amusing, since most normal people aren't exactly eager to die, but Ast just smirks, completely ready for the ultimate fight of his life. Ast grins at Van Gale, absolutely thrilled by this insane challenge. But the villain looks totally bored. Now watch closely, because things are about to get absolutely wild. Ast gets ready to go all out and dashes forward with a massive wind blade, looking to finish this fight lightning fast. Van Gale just smiles back, actually surprised to find someone this strong out here. That battle-crazed grin stays locked on Ast's face, making him look completely unfazed by the danger. Charging up a sinister red aura, Van Gale claims he is getting serious for the first time in literal years. His ego is off the charts as he promises to finally try a little. Our S-rank just tightens his grip, ready for whatever insane attack comes next. Another massive slash flies from Ast's sword, and he is shocked, wondering if Van Gale has the exact same skill as someone named Carla. Van Gale scoffs at the comparison, calling that other power totally pathetic. Then he flat out declares that he is the wind itself, making Ast realize his physical attacks won't even connect. A dark energy vortex erupts, launching Ast straight into the air. This leaves our guy in serious trouble, realizing this is way more dangerous than he ever thought. Down below, Van Gale just laughs it off, actually complimenting his dodging skills. To counterattack, Ast tries focusing, tapping directly into his sheer willpower. For a split second it looks like he has a solid plan, but Van Gale teleports right behind him, moving at an absolutely impossible speed. This villain mercilessly mocks him, calling him a super slow turtle in comparison. Shun watches in absolute horror as the rooftop fight takes a terrible turn for Ast. The S-rank realizes this guy isn't just some ordinary mage, and Van Gale just smirks, confirming that he is actually not a mage at all. His power is calamitous wind from outside their dimension. Let that sink in for a second, because this otherworldly reveal leaves Ast completely speechless. With a massive surge of red energy, Van Gale forces the S-rank onto his knees. Those glowing eyes scream he is enjoying this way too much. Ast is totally trapped, completely overwhelmed by this mind-bending pressure. From the sidelines, Shun screams his new friend's name, as a massive explosion sends Ast plummeting from the sky, crashing incredibly hard into the ground below. Van Gale hovers over him, calling him a totally boring disappointment. Raising his blade, he tells Ast to just roll over and die, but Shun dashes in at top speed, screaming that he won't let it happen. Our boy intercepts the fatal strike with a massive purple slash, but it is totally useless. The attack gets completely stopped, so he activates an error skill, unleashing his black flame magic. This immediately makes Van Gale recognize the power as Pharaoh's. He admits Shun's power is special, but then literally calls it yawn-inducing. Ouch, that is ridiculously harsh. Van Gale is already super bored and asks if Shun is done yet. But our boy grinds his teeth, prepping another purple flame attack. He unleashes a secret origin sword technique from midair, which only causes a literal yawn from Van Gale, who easily recognizes the move. This villain stops the blade with one single hand, calling his power completely and utterly inferior. Then he just casually blasts Shun away with a dark energy wave. Standing right over him, Van Gale mocks his lack of character, and Shun realizes this dude's strength is on a completely different level entirely. His hand glows red, promising to end this instantly, and you and I both know that pulse of pure energy means somebody is about to die. All right, stick with me. He flashes a smug smile, asking if Shun is still fighting. But that just fuels Shun's fire. He will find his dad. With absolute resolve in his eyes, he decides the massive power gap means absolutely nothing. Suddenly, Van Gale freezes up, totally surrounded by floating digital blocks. A mysterious voice echoes. It promises Shun he is not going to die today, leaving our boy completely speechless at this random, last-second save. He spots a glowing, ghostly figure in front of him, looking exactly like Dad. The voice explains this is Time Stop, a totally busted upgrade to his skill. Bright light drops down and Shun looks up, completely shell-shocked. His eyes go wide, instantly realizing exactly who just showed up. Shun just stands there, golden runes pop up confirming time is totally frozen, and floating down from the sky is the man from his memories. Yup, it is his dad looking cool as hell, saying it has been a minute. He explains leveling down weakened a curse, finally letting him visit. Our boy processes that instantly. But this little family reunion is on a tight clock. Dad pokes his forehead, calling him a smart kid. Then he drops a cryptic hint. The cheat code to winning is inside Shun's memories. Bam, a sudden vision hits. His dad with some allies and a massive wolf, looking young and absolutely badass, saying he is glad everyone is safe. Snap back to the present. Shun is completely rattled by this new memory fragment. His dad tells him to keep dropping his level to break the curse and reclaim his true self. And just like that, the ghostly dad intervention fades away. Meanwhile, Van Gale finally unfreezes, totally confused about what that weird glitchy feeling was. Now watch closely. He realizes someone actually manipulated time right under his nose. Literally impossible. His eyes bug out in absolute disbelief, because he is now staring at a white-haired, glowing red-eyed Shun. Our boy just stares at his own hands, totally freaked out by the glow-up, wondering what on earth triggered this sudden physical change. Then it clicks, this has to be his past life form. Boom, a massive shockwave of purple energy explodes right out of him. Van Gale is losing his mind over this insane power spike. Shun finally gets it. Those wild memory flashes, that was his past life. The villain just stares, trying to process this madness, right before Shun blitzes him in a purple flash. Turns out his past self was a peak swordsman, holding a legendary title known as the Sword Saint. For the first time, Van Gale actually takes damage, his arm glitching out. Shun realizes those memories were from his time as that mythical warrior, earning him some actual reluctant respect from the villain for landing a solid hit. The bad guy figures out Shun is using time acceleration to slice through space-time itself. Our boy just smirks, asking how long this tough guy act is going to last. So Van Gale unleashes a massive red tidal wave, returning the favor. Suddenly, Shun is forced on the defensive, trapped inside a raging crimson storm. He narrows his eyes, bracing for impact. This heavy counterattack hits him from multiple blind angles. You and I both know Van Gale is absolutely loving this. Shun fights to stand his ground against the brutal onslaught, realizing the Sword Saint's raw power is way too much for his current body. The villain steps up, ready to end this with a devastating strike, and their blades lock in an insanely explosive, ground-shattering clash. Shun is barely hanging on against Van Gale's overwhelming force. The villain notices the kid is about to pull off something incredibly desperate, pouring every single drop of energy into his blade for one final, desperate shot, unleashing the hidden second form of his secret sword technique. A wild flurry of purple slashes called Space-Time Cut, actually drawing real blood from Van Gale's face, which just makes the villain laugh out loud. Genuinely impressed, he notes it has been an eternity since he bled, fully admitting he was holding back. Flashing an evil grin, he decides playtime is officially over. A terrifying pillar of dark purple aura violently erupts around him, leaving Shun completely frozen, totally stunned by this massive, sudden power spike. Then Van Gale drops an absolute bombshell. His real goal is already done. Right on cue, a massive wave of fire crashes from the sky, revealing a giant flaming phoenix summoned to destroy everything. Trust me, you'll hate this. The villain smiles, this whole fight was just for stalling. Shun realizes he summoned an apocalypse bird mid-fight. Below them, massive fireballs start raining down on the completely defenseless city. Stick with me, Van Gale confirms this whole place will be a sea of fire. He calls the townspeople a total nuisance for his master plan, swearing Shun and Ast are getting roasted right along with them. Shun's eyes shoot wide open. The power recoil hits him like an absolute truck. He doubles over in brutal pain. With both heroes exhausted, Van Gale flexes about burning the city. But right as he launches a massive fireball, a blue energy blast intercepts it. More blue blasts fly past Shun, totally canceling out the sky attacks. Our boy is completely lost while ice crystals rain down everywhere. And look who finally showed up. A blonde warrior drops in, looking completely unbothered. Shun recognizes Lise immediately. She literally apologizes for being late to the apocalypse, saying she was busy. Shun is super confused until he notices the mini army of adventurers she dragged along. Oh yeah, the whole squad pulled up ready to throw down. Lise turns to Van Gale, giving a formal bow, and introduces herself as Resius, first princess of the entire country. Now watch this, the villain just listens while she stands there looking like absolute royalty, leaving Shun and Ast completely mind blown by this. But Van Gale just smirks. He actually mocks her, guessing her royal skill, and daring her to prove she is not just cannon fodder. She calmly confirms her skill is a lethal, fast-acting poison, gripping a glowing green dagger that promises pure pain. She's locked in for an unfriendly greeting, but this evil villain just starts laughing his head off. He actually finds this whole princess rescue mission to be peak entertainment. Down on the ground, Ast admits he always knew something was sus. Lise gives a sorry smile, finally coming clean about hiding her royal status. Time for the tragic backstory. Her brother was murdered, her looks altered. That is why she approached them disguised. Ast gets it. Lise is the princess, meaning the dead prince was her brother. Ast is actually impressed, realizing she is way tougher than he thought. She admits Shun risked his life for her without knowing her identity, which is exactly why she is dropping the truth now. Even if he totally hates her for it, because today she is doing the saving. A massive pillar of toxic green energy explodes around her. Ast is totally stunned by the insane power flex. Pointing her sword, she claims her turn to carry Shun. Van Gale just smiles like a psycho, daring her to try. But then the poison actually creeps up his body, totally catching him off guard. That smug face cracks as green spreads everywhere. Lise calls it, literally nobody escapes the royal family's deadly poison. Ast just watches, realizing the princess is flooding the entire battlefield with a toxic fog. Van Gale feels it kicking in, annoyed that his human body is actually struggling against the toxicity. But this bad guy loves yapping, trashing her for faking her identity just to hunt down pharaohs. I know you and I didn't see this coming. He asks Shun's opinion before dropping the absolute nuke. Lise was originally here to assassinate him. Lise's face is just pure, heartbreaking determination. A flashback hits. Her murdered brother was her only true friend in a suffocating royal life. They used to sneak out for secret little adventures together. Those irreplaceable moments were her only real escape. We see a cute childhood memory here. Right before being crushed by the tragedy of his death, she confronted the king, demanding justice against Pharaoh's Bright. Her dad basically told her to suck it up, dropping a strict royal order to never touch Shun's father. She clenches her fist in pure rage, calls him a coward, and storms out of the throne room completely done. She threw herself into brutal sword training, mastered insane poison skills, and ditched the castle to find the truth herself. Which led her straight to the son of the man she wanted dead, Shun. This flashback kicks off with Ast. He's yelling at Shun for acting arrogant in a dungeon. Shun argues that reckless moves will get other adventurers hurt. Ast basically says he doesn't give a damn. Meanwhile, Lise is watching from the shadows, realizing Shun isn't some evil guy like his dad. She's also super confused why he's stuck with a totally garbage-level lowering skill. And that is where we leave it. Her whole investigation got confusing right before a spectral wolf shows up. That attack sends her stumbling backward, completely caught off guard. Stick with me here. She instantly realizes she completely messed up by underestimating him, knowing her only bloody option is running. Her face is the perfect picture of instant regret, but then our lad Shun turns up at the last second to save her. He shouts at her to leg it while he holds them off, leaving the princess absolutely gobsmacked by his selfless move. Her mind is totally blown. He shouldn't even be fighting with that handicap. Admitting she risked his life over his dad's identity, the guilt hits her like a ton of bricks. Back in the present, She explains she saw his true character that day, swearing to protect him because losing someone that honest would be absolutely gutting. Shun just watches, completely amazed by her fierce and brilliant declaration. Lise finally confesses to Shun that she played him the whole time. Then she turns to Van Gale, declaring this is where they split, leaving Shun totally baffled by this wild twist. This poison-covered villain finds all this heroic chat absolutely hilarious, and as a menacing red aura erupts. He admits he just doesn't get it. His expression gets proper dark, asking if she's got a death wish. But Lise doesn't even flinch, promising to smash his power no matter what. Now watch this, Van Gale gets proper nasty, swearing to send her to the afterlife, and that threat just makes something inside Shun snap. He charges right at him. Shun's own bloody power erupts, blocking the attack and leaving Van Gale totally stunned. Which leaves Lise absolutely gobsmacked too, asking why on earth he would protect her. Pushing back against the force, Shun says the answer is dead simple, because she's right here, calling her by her real name, Reese. Her head is absolutely spinning, still not getting his logic at all, but our lad flashes this incredibly genuine smile, saying it's plain and simple. His reason echoes in her head, hitting her right in the feels. She finally asks if he can forgive someone like her, but Shun says there's nothing to forgive, knowing the pure agony of losing family. A quick flashback drops, showing he understands that bloody pain way too well. Shun apologizes, admitting he was way too caught up in his own mission. Now facing the grim possibility that his own dad actually murdered his brother. And if his old man is still backing these absolute monsters, he swears to stop him with absolutely everything he's got. Totally blown away, Reese asks if he really accepts her as a comrade, and flashing a brilliant smile, he gives a sincere yes. I know what you're thinking, but Van Gale is absolutely sick of this emotional bonding because his giant flaming phoenix is finally ready. This massive beast unleashes a brilliant pillar of fire straight at them. Leaving Shun and Reese bracing for a heavy attack they simply can't dodge. But another blonde warrior suddenly leaps right into the bloody inferno. It's Irisha, the sword phantom, tanking the entire hit. She casually apologizes for being late, blaming a monster-clearing detour. Her face hardens as she swears his little rampage ends right here. Van Gale just smirks, instantly recognizing the famous adventurer by her name. Irisha then cheekily congratulates a stun for getting battered so badly, winding him up and making him furiously insist he totally didn't lose. A claim she completely blanks. A massive purple aura explodes around her as she announces it's officially payback time. So Shun splits the squad, telling the others to handle Van Gale while they push forward. But Irisha just smiles, telling him he's the one who inspired everyone to get moving. She remembers Shun facing an impossible bloody test where even S-ranks would tap out, but he never quit, looking fiercely determined. His sheer willpower was so insane it inspired everyone else to keep fighting. Back in the present, she asks if a stun has any fight left in him. Van Gale is genuinely gobsmacked they can even stand after that strike. Shun just glares back, knowing he must push on regardless. A weird purple energy suddenly surges all around him, which catches our boy completely off guard, having zero clue what's going on. Turns out Reese is giving him a cheeky little boost, explaining the fine line between poison and medicine, basically injecting him with a combat stim. With a cheeky grin, she asks if he feels the power overflowing, and Shun is amazed, admitting she's absolutely cracking. She tells him to count on her because with this mega boost, she's fighting too. Trust me, this whole powered-up squad is absolutely ready for round 2. Alright, jump in with me, as is literally vibrating with hype, ready to jump the villain, while that massive firebird casually wrecks adventurers in the background. Suddenly, this new guy in shades just calmly scopes out the chaotic battlefield, deciding right away that winning here, yeah, absolutely zero chance. He casually snatches a blazing feather right out of the air, chuckling. Then he just loses it, laughing like an absolute total maniac, loving the chaos. Shun just stares, totally baffled by the crazy laughter, while our new sunglasses guy soaks it all in. He absolutely loves being outnumbered and beaten down. Next, he tells some old man it is showtime. Right on cue, a massive purple rift violently tears through the air. Shun immediately tenses up as this insane tear spreads across the sky right over the battlefield. Dark, shadowy, twisted tendrils. They sprout out, proving someone was hiding nearby. Their very first target, Van Engel's giant flaming phoenix. The shadows rapidly shoot down, grabbing the adventurers on the ground, tangling them up in heavy dark binding magic. Even Araya, the legendary sword ghost. She gets caught completely off guard, Shun and Reese trapped right beside her. The area is a wild mix of fire and shadow, leaving our boy staring in pure disbelief. Down below, the last standing adventurers are getting totally wiped out by flames. Right then, a new voice loudly sighs, super annoyed about having to step in. Shun desperately scans for this new player. Watch closely, because you and I are about to witness the impossible. Massive blue pillars crash from the sky, while the voice calls this a half-finished experiment. Totally overwhelmed, Shun can barely ask why this is happening. His brain just short-circuits, demanding to know why this guy is even here. And this new major player, the legendary founder of Levantini. Shun's very own dad, talk about the worst family reunion. Floating right above the burning battlefield is the man himself, Fario's Bright. His hands are sizzling with some seriously nasty purple energy. Our boy just repeats his question, completely unable to process this. This legendary Adventurer Guild founder is literally his dad, just floating there, staring them down like ants. He gives Shun that classic, condescending "you have grown" speech. He points at the sword, casually mentioning it was his gift. Father of the Year adds that it is disappointing Shun still uses it. Leaving Shun completely shattered by the insult, barely able to speak. A memory flashes through his mind, the word "why" hangs heavy in the air. Finally, he finds his voice, demanding to know why his dad massacred everyone. Farios's answer is a deadpan, "Oh, I did that." He calls the other adventurers mere bugs he just swept away. Because you just sweep away things that get in your way. Our boy is losing his mind, you saw that too, right? Beside him, Ri is absolutely boiling with pure rage. Her own power erupts as she gets ready to fight the man who started everything. Rai's hands are seriously sizzling with vengeful energy, totally ready to go straight after Farios himself. Irija is completely shocked by this reckless power spike. She grabs Reese, screaming at her to stop before she gets herself totally killed. Fari just looks down, condescendingly pointing out she hasn't given up avenging her brother after a decade. Utterly disgusted, Ri glares back, calling him just a nuisance. As then calls out the old man, noting he is way different from 10 years ago. Fario just condescendingly congratulates him for finally hitting S rank, smiling. As credits his own success directly to Fario's brutal training. Then he points to the ruined city, demanding to know what this sick joke is about. Van Galil steps in, mocking him for not getting it. This is all just an experiment to create new monsters. This poison-covered villain looks way too proud of his twisted little science project. Meanwhile, Farios brushes off the defeated Phoenix, calling it pathetic and weak in this dimension. Bengal vows to burn the city, and Fario confirms that was expected. Shun finally finds his voice, barely managing to call his dad. His mind flashes to the hero who supposedly wanted to save everyone. He demands to know why that same man is now creating these monsters. Farios drops the most cliché, textbook villain answer of all time. He is going to remake the world. Our boy freezes, struggling to process this textbook level of evil. Van Gales is laughing, loving how Farios empowered his hatred for the country. You and I are definitely sticking around for the fallout. All right, grab a snack and stick with me here. Farios actually agrees, silently recognizing they are absolutely ready to risk everything. That is where his completely twisted logic drops in. He credits his whole twisted experiment to noble sacrifices, literally saying he is grateful for the poor guys he used as basic lab rats. Reese is absolutely spitting fire over this, blasting the guy for turning innocent victims into literal terrorists. The supervillain just calls her reaction unexpected, dripping with absolute condescension. Then he drops a whole villain monologue about innate abilities ruining the world. He completely blames the royal family for the mess, obviously claiming that their royal failure is exactly what created tragic test subjects like his. Reese is not buying a single word, demanding to know why he still had to murder her brother. Farios drops the most generic bad guy response ever. Oh, he just wants to remake the world. As Reese starts losing her mind, Irisha grabs her, screaming about the massive power gap. Reese yells to back off, but Irisha calmly faces her old mentor, even thanking Farios for teaching her the absolute basics of being an adventurer. She recalls his old lesson about never letting emotions cloud judgment. He finds it super nostalgic. So he tells her she should understand that fighting him is completely pointless. He offers her massive worldly power if she just joins up, but Ass steps forward, declaring he will not run away anymore. Irisha totally agrees, pulling out her own weapon and swearing to end his sins right here. Watch this with me. Shun just stands there watching this entire absolute disaster unfold. Remembering the dad he once looked up to, finally he steps up, addressing him not as a father, but as Fario's bright. Shun makes it totally official. This is not the dad he remembers. Farios just stares right back, basically asking, so what are you gonna do about it? His mind made up, Shun grips his sword, declaring he will stop this absolute madness by force. Ast is fully locked in, promising to knock some sense into the old man. Solid plan, Reese and Irisha agree, convinced that jumping him as a team might work, but Farios just turns away, sighing about failed negotiations. Big shocker right there, guess it just cannot be avoided. Drawing his own seriously evil-looking blade, he takes one calm breath before unleashing pure, unfiltered hell. He dashes forward with terrifying speed, dropping a casual earth-splitting slash that violently tears up the ground. Shun takes the attack head-on, trying to deflect the massive blast, but the raw force is absolutely insane. He gets pushed right back, struggling hard to hold against the onslaught. You and I can see this gap is ridiculous. He can barely comprehend this crazy power. Farios is hardly trying. Father of the Year looks down, acting totally impressed by his kid's struggling performance. But Ast flies in from behind, screaming that it is not over yet. Farios simply dismisses him with one brutal word, useless. He then casually blocks the kid's flaming strike without even bothering to turn around. Farios instantly spots their strategy, calling out Irisha's illusion magic. She confirms it, seemingly landing a solid back hit while Ast's attack engulfs the area in a huge fireball. But Farios just stands right there, condescendingly praising their so-called good teamwork. Then he flexes his own power, asking if they seriously thought he could not read that. He blasts them both backward with a massive, terrifying wave of dark energy from his sword. Ast gets back up, reminding the old man they are S-rank now too, yelling that no matter how strong he gets, they can still totally reach him. He shoots a massive beam of pure flame straight at his old mentor. Farios just scoffs, calling the entire display absolutely ridiculous. Suddenly, Irisha pops up behind him again. She wraps him in pink energy chains, mocking the world's strongest swordsman for dropping his guard. Farios clocks it instantly. It is just another combo illusion meant to distract him, which Irisha smugly confirms, since she is definitely not dumb enough to fight him head-on. With the big bad guy distracted, Ast dives in for the real attack, rocking a confident smirk as he prepares to deliver the final blow. Irisha's face is pure, locked in focus, holding the entire crazy illusion together. Just like us, all Shun can do is stand and watch this top-tier strategy unfold. While Farios just stands perfectly still inside his dark aura, his face, a flawless mask of absolute, soul-crushing boredom. Stick with me here, S is laughing, totally convinced his epic combo just landed a perfectly clean hit. But Farios just stands there, basically giving them a super sarcastic good job kids, before casually trapping both of them in some absolutely crazy energy bind. And our boy Shun can only watch his whole strategy completely fall apart. Irisha gets caught midair, totally locked down by the attack. She and S quickly realize this cursed power has them completely stuck in place. Their old mentor just mocks them, saying their little parlor tricks will not work on him. With two S-rank fighters wiped out, he looks right at Shun, asking what he will do, giving the kid that classic villain ultimatum to fight or run, but something feels off. A weird green energy starts creeping up his arm, and suddenly the ground erupts with that exact same power. Was this trap set way too late or perfectly on time? Ree watches from the sidelines, revealing she pulled this off all along. She casts some crazy terrain-changing magic, and it is definitely taking a heavy toll on her. Farios recognizes it instantly, knowing that is the unique power of the royal family. She screams at Shun to attack while the big bad is pinned down, but Father of the Year just grabs the blade barehanded, calling her move totally useless. Now watch this part closely. Shun's entire world shatters into pieces as this absolute monster effortlessly overpowers his own kid without even breaking a single sweat. Farios then reveals he fully expected this, calling Ree by her full title, Princess Resius. And she is left totally stunned, coughing up blood as her magic's cost hits hard. Farios orders Van Gale to grab the princess, literally just tossing her to the side. Then he drops his master plan to flood the world with monsters, standard casual villain stuff, you know. Shun, barely standing up, swears he will not let him win, but his dad just casually swats him right out of the air like an annoying fly. He then tells his kid to stay down and watch quietly, calling him completely immature. Farios even twists the knife, pointing out that Shun is easily the weakest person here. Our boy can only lay there crushed. He admits his dad is totally right, even with his past life memories. He just cannot master that insane power, and because of that he failed to save Ree. This kid is completely broken, going through a full-blown crisis of confidence, but suddenly a voice from his memories drops a massive hint. The key is already inside him. Shun realizes he was so focused on his past self that he forgot his own strength, remembering his real desire is just to live an honest life and protect the people he cares about. This voice tells him it is totally okay to be weak and mocked, as long as he makes someone happy. That is literally all that matters. His fist starts glowing, and with that resolve, a massive pillar of light erupts as he swears to fight. Farios actually looks surprised by this sudden power spike, and Van Gale feels it too, pointing out this bizarre new presence. A shadowy figure appears behind them, making Van Gale admit that things just got super serious. But Shun, now glowing with this dark aura, says something feels completely off. You guys felt that shift, right? A voice asks if he woke up, and a system window confirms it, declaring him the original Sword Saint. Level totally unknown. Van Gale watches, realizing Shun finally unlocked his true, hidden potential. Our boy just stares back at them, looking like a completely different person right now. He finally gets that his power was sealed away in an evil scheme, a power so insanely huge they never wanted it used. Even after reincarnation, Van Gale explains this is the divine shadow style that Shun himself actually created over 2,000 years ago. An invincible, legendary style that sparked countless cheap knockoffs throughout the centuries. Now Shun knows exactly why that evil lord was so absolutely terrified of him. His eyes are practically glowing with renewed purpose, but some green-haired guy with glasses suddenly drops in, ready to completely ruin the party. He is all smiles, promising to end this little power-up montage right here, right now. Shun just calmly draws his blade, getting ready to use his ancient secret technique. He unleashes a single slash that rips right through a whole row of attackers, leaving the new guy totally stunned as it hits him. He is literally on fire, admitting this power is on another level, while his friends are on the ground staring at the aftermath in pure disbelief. Shun looks back almost impressed, pointing out that everyone has gotten stupidly strong lately. Van Gale recognizes the old style, calling out Shun's family name, which definitely means it is time for him to stop holding back too. Van Gale gets serious and yells Shun's full name. Shun turns around looking like a final boss, and trust me, you want to see what happens next. Stick with me here. The fight kicks off with a massive clash of purple energy. Our lad holds his ground, totally unfazed by the pressure. They're locked in a brutal face-to-face test of pure strength. It's a cheeky game of who blinks first. Van Gale breaks away, launching a massive, deadly arc of purple energy straight at him. But Shun's face is pure ice. Those glowing eyes of his track every single bloody movement. Their slashes collide, absolutely shattering the ground in a massive power explosion. The stare-down continues. Neither bloke is giving an inch. Planting his feet hard, Shun gets ready for the next trade. He braces himself to hold the line against the assault. Suddenly, he dodges a flurry of strikes, an absolute blur of steel. This cheeky display completely catches Bangal off guard. Meanwhile, Shun keeps his eyes locked on the target, perfectly countering every hit. The whole battlefield is just bonkers energy and impossible speed. Watching from the sidelines, Irisha thinks they're evenly matched, but then she spots the actual problem. She realizes Bangal is physically way stronger. At this crazy rate, Shun's body is just going to give out entirely. Right on cue, Shun gets blasted backwards. The physical toll is finally showing, and our boy knows exactly what's wrong. He's got those ancient skills, but his current body is basically rubbish. It just can't handle the power. His opponent overpowers him and states the obvious. He can't win like this, and he always knew it. Shun knows his body is weak, but his eyes are pure steel. Then he just sheathes his sword. Now watch closely, because this mid-fight move is absolute madness. His mates are utterly gobsmacked, properly thinking he's just given up. But Bangal knows exactly what this is. The legendary swordless zero form. Shun casually drops, "Yeah, that was my specialty 2,000 years ago." So Bangal accepts the challenge, totally ready to see how long this frail body can handle an ancient master's moves. The tension absolutely skyrockets as they're locked in a deadly stare-down. Bangal makes the first move, rushing in for the kill, but Shun's eyes glow bright red, tracking every single twitch with absolute perfect clarity. He dodges the heavy downward slash like it's in slow motion. Then he counters with a lightning-fast palm strike straight to the chest. Bangal gets it now. This new style is all about saving energy. It's revealed to be the Divine Shadow style, the absolute strongest, long-lost fighting technique. This zero form is literally the first technique he created as the original Sword Saint. A style built on reading every twitch and breath before moving. Dropping the sword means fighting weightless, with absolutely mental speed. It's the ultimate combat method, and it hits the mark. It forces Bangal back, completely gobsmacked by the sheer impact. His face is pure shock. He absolutely did not see that coming. Shun just stands there glaring down like he's been in charge this whole time. The crew is baffled seeing Shun fight the old-timer without a blade, while Bangal finally admits our lad is far from ordinary. He recognizes this zero form as Shun's massive, all-or-nothing gamble to win. But Shun casually says his sword was just worn out. Anyway, Bangal flashes this proper smug, "I get it" kind of smile. Then comes the classic villain monologue, dropping a massive but, while unleashing his own terrifying purple aura. He points out the style's flaws, rubbish reach, and absolutely zero finishing power. He's mocking Shun for thinking he can win, but you and I both know that, just you wait, look on our lad's face. The intense stare-down continues. Bangal clenches his fist and announces he's coming. He charges forward like an absolute madman, screaming Shun's full name. While Shun meets the charge with his own fiery red aura, his hand suddenly shoots right back to his sheathed sword. But Bangal is already on him in a purple flash. Their powers collide in a blinding explosion of light, throwing us right back into another intense split-screen stare-down. Bangal goes on the attack once again, his blade totally primed to strike. Shun preps to draw, knowing his blade only has one hit left. He throws everything into a final surprise attack, literally accelerating time itself. And Bangal actually looks genuinely shocked for a split second. Our lad unleashes the secret second form of the Divine Shadow style, but Bangal knows the exact same bloody move. What a copycat. Their attacks clash in a literal rupture of space and time, sending out a massive shockwave that rattles all his mates in the back. They're just silhouettes of destruction in the ruined wasteland, and Bangal's face is pure killer focus. Shun matches his glare, even though the brutal physical cost is catching up. A chunk of metal goes spinning through the air. It's the tip of Shun's sword. The thing has been absolutely shattered to bits. He coughs up blood. That frail body really isn't holding up. A nasty wound opens across his chest. He took a direct hit. Bangal watches from afar. That's where we leave it, mates. The old man is bleeding too, but gives a highly respectful "well done." "All right, stick with me here." He turns his back, using his sword like a cane while his friends watch, totally mind blown. Ast asks if he actually won, but nope. Van Gale knew Shun couldn't win without a sword, basically forcing that desperate final move. And our boy just stands there, totally accepting the massive L. Van Gale brutally claims the fight was decided by who had the better blade, turning around and calling this whole battle totally finished. Our guy just stares, absolutely speechless at the crushing defeat, while his friends in the back share the exact same stunned silence. But then Van Gale starts glitching with blue particles. It is a healing effect Shun recognizes from that shady visor guy. And the squad can only watch him get an instant full health recovery. Then that green-haired kid next to him starts running his mouth, mocking Van Gale for actually trying to attack his own son. With a super dark glare. Van Gale admits his time is up anyway. He tells Shun that murdering him would be fun, but he is booked busy for the evil god. Right on cue, enemy backup arrives, because of course they do. Now watch closely. Seeing the backup, Van Gale decides it is time to dip. They already got what they wanted by bagging the princess. Shun totally loses it. He screams Reese's name, making an absolutely desperate dash straight toward their glowing red teleportation circle. He gets caught in the light, yelling at Van Gale for running away weaponless. His lunge does absolutely nothing, exactly like this old man predicted. One final look basically says Shun is way too weak to interfere. The evil lord's voice chimes in, bragging that his 2,000-year plan is working perfectly. Fading away, he tells Shun to just sit back and watch how the whole world gets remade. Shun is left all alone in the rubble, while Ast and Irija watch with their brains totally fried. The heavy weight of defeat hits Shun hard, grim, silent, a single broken sword just lying abandoned right there in the cracked dirt. Ast grabs his head, completely lost and confused. Then he walks up, calling Shun's sudden insane power spike straight up cheating. I know what you're thinking. Our boy calmly offers an explanation, dropping a massive bomb. He is the original Sword Saint reincarnated. He admits it sounds crazy, but he has felt it forever. Random flashes of memories and crazy god-tier power that were never actually his. For Ast, all the weirdness finally starts making perfect sense. He realizes Shun's insane power spikes from before were never just normal talent at all. So Ast asks if he got his full Sword Saint spark back. Yep, Shun has the power, but his actual sword is total history. Still shook, Ast asks if he kept the memories too, which is completely true. This guy is mind blown. Shun is literally the absolute founder of modern swordsmanship. Irija connects the dots, realizing the visor guy was totally the boss of the other villains. She guesses he runs some secret group making those bugged monsters. Shun stays laser-focused, knowing Reese's kidnapping definitely has a darker purpose. Irija tries lightening the mood, joking if he is an old man now, not amused. Shun asks them to keep his reincarnated legend super secret. Irija just smiles, totally unbothered by his attempt at being normal. Because the vibe gets dark fast, remembering Reese is gone, and they are ridiculously outnumbered. But then Shun dramatically announces that he actually still has a winning play. Which makes Ast ask if his ancient memories hold some kind of epic secret master plan. With pure conviction, he confirms his 2,000 years of knowledge is their last hope. Trust me, we need to see this.